Hey, hello there. Thanks for checking this out. We're going to casually look at the API TranZformer LLX. We have another video that we've done the compressor. So check that one out too. That is the CMP compressor. Just some full disclosure. I have both of these API products. I had the old TranZformer LLX or whatever it was called. I loved it. It really didn't work live because of some weird ways they did it. And they made some revisions, and it seems like they're really listening to kind of the community overall, because now instead of it being this big multi-pedal commitment kind of thing, they just broke the sides up, essentially. I mean, it's probably not the same circuit. It's probably not the same whatever. But it's like, now you can buy just the preamp. Now you can buy just the compressor, which that's awesome because I was crazy about the compressor. I like the EQ, but I loved the compressor. So, full disclosure, that compressor lives on my board. I've chosen it over many compressors I've used. This is the other part of it. And I should also say, before we get into it too, I had some concerns and I reached out to API. I don't remember all of their responses or honestly all of my concerns, but there was a couple where it was like, there's a couple little price saving measures they did with the compressor. That's fine. And I would also say quality control wise, these are foreign made API products. And I think that's what the whole API Select line is. And that's why generally you're not going to get an API name like this with a TranZformer with the goodies on the inside for this price unless it was foreign made. So like, to me, that seems like a huge plus. Like that's the only way they could reach down to the guitar player pedal level and get out of just, here's a $2,000 studio rack. So I think that's really cool. And the Select series, I think for the studio, they also have like a tube compressor, a tube preamp. I don't think API usually has messed with tubes. So it seems like they're doing really cool, innovative stuff. Between the two pedals, there was a little thing I noticed. The LEDs, when they were on my board right next to each other and both turned on, one LED was significantly brighter than the other one. That's a little quality control thing. I brought that up and they said they're gonna check it out. And also, when I was talking to the API guy, full disclosure, he did offer to send me a t-shirt and some free stuff, which was cool. It's not going to affect my review at all. Plus, he never sent it.
Influenced by Cotton.
So it's fine. He might send it in the future, but I'm just trying to be fully disclosed.
I think we are disclosed.
Cool. We are so disclosed.
All right.
This is the preamp pedal. Oh, yeah, and this is my friend Nick.
Hey, how's it going?
And I'm Carson. We have a bass channel. You should subscribe to it.
If you
we try to be pretty casual, pretty not snobby. We're both working musicians.
Yeah, but we're going to be honest about if we're using something or if we're not using something. It's a real opinion. It may work for us and not for you and vice versa. But
exactly. It might be the perfect pedal for you and not the perfect pedal for us.
Sure.
So let's get into this one.
First, let me say this is it's just a Lakland P bass, Telly style P bass. There's nothing special about it. It's got rounds on it, and it's pretty bright, which is cool because it just gives you a little bit of control. So we'll kind of sweep through some of the settings and
passive.
In the meantime,
passive,
completely passive.
And we are also going
as God intended
into the Rupert Neve DI straight in, no EQ when this pedal's off. I will say this is a buffered pedal. So it's always buffering the signal even if the pedal is off, which especially if it's towards the beginning of your pedal board chain, that's a huge plus.
Sure.
It's great. A high quality buffer. That's one less thing I have to buy. So I love that.
Cool. You want some clean tone?
Let's hear it without the Neve or without the preamp. That's with the pedal on. I'm try to level match that a little bit. Okay, so there's still a little jump.
Yeah, definitely a volume increase, but kind of nice to beef it up.
So I have the gain almost all the way down, and so that also tells you like the pedal is trying to color your sound, which is awesome. If you like that flavor, it's going to give you the flavor.
But
give you that flavor.
It'd be a tough pedal if it's not always on. You'd really have to make up some gain
absolutely.
in other places.
Yeah, you'd have to be really intentional. I would definitely use this as an always on pedal and not a sometimes on.
Yeah, it would have to be.
So we're currently in the clean boost mode, and this gain function, which will explain kind of why we're having to have the gain down. My understanding of it is it's pretty much boost only. Like you're not, a lot of pedals you get,
magnets.
A lot of pedals you get, it's straight up and down is kind of flat, and you can cut or boost.
Sure.
So I think this is the boost only because it's intended to use as juicing your sound a little bit. And then there's an overdrive circuit in it too, which is very odd for API to do, which is super cool. But we're in the clean section now. And let's just, before we mess with drive at all, would you play a little bit and I'll mess with the EQ. This is 100 hertz. This is what they deem the low end. This is higher up in the frequency spectrum than like an Ampeg usually. And I'm just kind of watching to make sure I don't overdrive my preamp in the studio. This is back flat. This is all the way up. Or almost all the way up. That's all the way up. Now I'm cutting. Kind of like a little slight cut there. Let's talk about the mid. The mid is at 400 hertz, which is somewhere I'd usually like just the smallest scoop, not like a scoopy slappy thing, but like just get a little bit of mud out. But here is boosted, which is actually really usable mid tone. It's not flubby like I thought it would be. I'm gonna put this bass back in the middle. It's flat. That's total scoop. So I don't like that.
That is wild.
But that's a lot of scoop. You know, it's pretty powerful EQ.
I say quite a range.
Yeah. I actually like the sound of that mid. I'm just gonna like give it just a tiny cut. Then here's the top end. Top end's at 2K and it has kind of an interesting thing it could do. We'll talk about in a minute. It's cool.
You want me to roll this tone up here? I've just cut off the top of it, but here's tone wide open on the bass.
Oh yeah, that helps a lot. That's down.
I had just rolled that tone off recently. So.
Okay. So really cool, like very usable top end high frequency control. What's even cooler about the way they've done this is you can boost this top end, and maybe at home you can tell it might be getting a little hissy. So it's getting a little hissy, but they have this button where you can choose high shelf, which is boosting 2K and above, or this, I don't know what you call it, maybe a notch. It's
like a peak.
It peaks, so it's not boosting the high end that you don't really even want on your bass. So let's see what that does, because I've got this treble cranked all the way, probably more than anybody would use it. And we're going to go from this to cuts down on the hiss. Now play. That was rude. Play, please. So you're still getting a ton of high end. That's a great idea. I mean, I like a lot of high end in my sound. I usually use a Noble preamp, and I have the treble, at like 1 or 2-ish. But I could get even more high end out of this pedal when I was using it without getting hiss. Super cool. I love that.
That's cool to have in the bag.
So I'm going to leave it there. This is kind of what, that's where I'm landing. We play. Sweet. And then let's talk about the overdrive mode.
explain that pad that it's got built in?
Yeah, so with this gain kind of being boost only, and you're boosting it into the circuit to get that overdrive, the way they are counteracting your signal getting too hot is adding a pad right here, an output pad. So you can have it at 0. You could have it at -20.
Nice.
-20 is a lot.
I'd say that's
a big pad.
But it sounds like it takes every bit of it.
Yeah,
to balance it out.
Yes. Will you play again? So that -20, like, it does absolutely balance it out. Like, you need that much of a pad. But I guess my question would be, like, who would be using this pedal to overdrive it that hard? And this kind of, it's not trying to be tubey.
Yeah,
API has always been an op amp E, which I don't even know necessarily what that means, but I know what I'm hearing. It's a unique sound of overdrive. It's not my flavor that I would go for.
Yeah.
But I would try to use a little bit of it. You know, I would try to use it, say, like right there.
And you take the pad off.
Well,
maybe.
It's really low. Then I take the pad off.
That's still a jump.
That was my problem. I noticed if I was trying to just get like a tiny, tiny bit of that overdrive, that the -20 was way too radical. I wish it'd be like -10, -12.
Interesting.
Like, I wish I had a couple clicks that I could use, and I'd probably like it quite a bit more. And I guess the second thing I should say is there's an input on one side, there's an output on the other side. That's all. This, to me, would be an amazing studio-ish quality DI preamp.
It would be really cool to have laying around.
Yeah, if it had with like the transformers even being in there, that's not something you see in a ton of guitar pedals, and that's awesome. I wish there was an XLR out. I would pay more money. I would, it's like $280. I think
that's not bad for this high quality of a product. That is great. That is a really good price point.
I will correct it if not, but I think it's like $280 or
nice.
If it was like $350 and had a Transformer DI on it,
game over.
Love it. Why would I? Especially even if it gets close to this Rupert Neve DI, which I know is kind of even looking at the size. If it's an awesome DI that you can't find in most guitar pedals, because most guitar pedals are not using the same kind of circuitry that an API would use, it would be game over. But because this doesn't really have an XLR out, and because the overdrive is not really my flavor, I've ended up not using this on my pedal board. But you might love it.
I mean, that is a really, really nice EQ. If it's an always-on thing, and
super cool.
Yeah,
it's
like I said, for the price point, for the quality of the build, for the quality of the sound, I mean, that's a deal.
Yeah.
It just might not be your deal.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So great product overall.
Yeah.
Now, I'm dumb. I'm really dumb.
No.
Did you get this off Sweetwater? Did you get it new or used? Like, is this a Sweetwater?
Not many people have been talking about them.
Are they easy to get and are they easy to work on? Clearly, they're easy to get a hold of.
I would say neither. Like, I don't think they are making a ton of them because I don't think they're selling crazy well.
Where'd you get it?
I got it off Reverb from an API dealer.
Oh, okay.
So it was new.
Sure.
It just seems
like
like
to wait. I feel like there's so much wait time.
Not this time.
Nice.
Not this time. Yeah, I don't really know why these are not more popular. Because they're cool.
Yeah.
And like, especially all the country dudes and stuff, everyone's using API or Cappy or what, like they're all going into APIs. Like that's a lot of the Nashville sound is that API thing.
Sure.
It's like API or Neve, but like a lot of people are using API.
Yeah.
In studios I've seen. So it's kind of interesting why this isn't really, I haven't seen it pick up the way other pedals have picked up. But I'll also back up and be like, I love the compressor, the CMP compressor. It's amazing. This didn't work out for me because I like the sound of my Noble.
He's sold.
I'm
There's
pretty sold on the
something in the casing of the Noble that when you touch it, it gets into your bloodstream, and then
you,
you're legally obligated to tell everybody that they should spend $1,200 to get on a 45-week wait list.
Gosh, you're so salty.
I'm a little salty. Maybe if the wait list was,
you're
I don't
so
know,
salty.
40 weeks less, maybe that'd be all right. It's great preamp. It's fine.
Anyway, I like my Noble a lot. I tried to use this as like a tone shaping thing in front of the Noble, where, you know, the Noble's not.
You tell me all 3 of those knobs on the Noble isn't enough? No, I'm just kidding.
I like this.
All right.
You know, to add a little bit more flexibility or get like a little bit more of a mid skew, whatever. I ended up sticking with like an always on overdrive is going to be my color replacement.
That's literally what
this didn't work out for me.
Are you looking to replace it with another like EQ pedal, or are you ever?
No,
are you good?
So I think I'm good.
Nice
with the Noble. But if I get rid of the Noble and I have something I don't like the EQ on, well, I'm going to be reaching for something like this or like a Tech 21 Q Strip.
Sure,
they're both really clean, really cool.
Do you own a Q Strip?
No, but I have before.
How many times have you sold that same Q Strip? All right.
Well, anyway, maybe I can play real quick and you can fiddle around.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Let's go. Sorry about my fingerprint bass. It lives in a trailer often, and it's rare that it busted out of its cage. Oh no. That cleared up really quick. When you pull it really, like, I feel like this is a sensitive, like, I just added a little bit of that low end and it really rocked it. Listen to how it cleans up.
Yeah, and usually I wouldn't be cutting the bass on something, but it's cool what that frequency they've chosen does, because it still lets that really low
No, it's woofy.
happen.
It's still woofy. I mean, but that's too high. I would never even run it at half.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be sitting right there where you had it.
And we should also note, we're listening to this in my recording studio from some studio monitors that are about 15, 20 feet away.
Sure.
So we're hearing things a little,
just different.
Different.
Just different.
More in a studio environment.
Sure. Well, that's who's judging your tone sometimes, so here you go. Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. Just play around a little bit, yeah. Give it to him. I'm cutting some of that top end off now. It's definitely not offensive. I mean, it rounds out the top too. Nice.
I like it. It's a cool pedal.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'll buy one again. Anyway, this has been awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks for stopping in. We appreciate you checking out the channel. Make sure to leave and don't subscribe.
Yeah, don't do it. I don't want you to at all.
Nope.
That's what.
Have a good one. See ya.